Hi, today we're going to look at a school called the People Grow School that is trying to look at education from the lens of allowing children to build their curiosity rather than stuffing them up with information. This school is nestled in a beautiful valley surrounded by hills in Chittoor district, Andhra, about 180 kilometers from Bangalore. A beautiful example of their approach is that when children are learning about a leaf, instead of just learning about it from a diagram or learning about it theoretically, children here are encouraged to pick up a real leaf from their environment and study it and observe it and then make their own connections. And essentially, there are three questions that they constantly deal with to improve their school environment. The first one is how can they relate better to children, the second one is how can they give them more autonomy, and finally the third one is how can they help them feel more competent about themselves. So now let's see how this philosophy actually plays out in this beautiful school.
We started in 2006, and there was a core group of teachers who felt very strongly that education is much more than what is practiced nowadays, not just in India but all over the world, but especially in India. I mean, there are so many things which concern us and which are still, points of concern. So we wanted education to be more about discovery, about reflection, about about students wanting to know things and a passion for knowledge which will last them all their lives. We wanted it also to happen in the absence of fear and without, things like the pressure of exams. And we had all these ideas in mind when we started.
One thing about the school that actually made an impact on me was probably having my teachers around 24/7. So here, there's a different bond with the teacher and the student. When you're learning, it's it's really like you get a very personal bond with the teacher, right? And that just makes learning much better. It I can they're very approachable. I've had many teachers who actually went back to their when I asked a question. They went back to their rooms, did a lot of research on it, and then they came back to me the next class and saying, "Hey, you asked that question last time, and I've got you an answer now." So conceptually, they're always willing to do anything they can to actually make the student understand, and that was one thing that always stood out for me in the school. The second thing is that the independence you get here, right? It's not like a irresponsible independence. Like you have to do your things, but you get the freedom to do it when you can choose when to do it, right? Within the deadline. So say I have my free time today, right? So I can either choose to read a book or finish my English work, right? So it depends on me, right? So that freedom also it really improved the way I study. Yes.
Right now it's silent reading time. We should all read silently.
Every Tuesday, children, teachers, and the staff start their day with something called silent reading, where everyone on campus immerses themselves into books of their choice. This creates a culture that allows everyone to build a habit of reading and fall in love with that process.
So our day begins around 6 o'clock, where we get up, and then we have morning activities, which includes music, yoga, athletics, and culinary too. So that's about half an hour in the morning, and then we freshen up for some between 15 minutes, and then we have our breakfast, and then our day starts either with an assembly or a homeroom. In homerooms, usually it's our class which gets together with our class teacher, and we have various discussions on many topics. It can be the most randomest topics, and For example, we even have book discussions where someone presents what the book was about, and then whatever questions arise from the book, whoever has read the book, we discuss about that and gather different opinions and come to a conclusion. And then our regular classes begin, and then we have something called a milk break for about 15 minutes. Then we have lunch around 1, and then afternoon there's something called silent time, where everyone's in their individual rooms, dorms, and they're supposed to be silent on their beds, either doing some academic work or resting. And then evening we have about 1 or 2 classes. It depends on if you're a junior or a senior. And then evening we have sports for about 45 minutes, and then we gather for snacks at the dining hall in the evening, and then we again go back to dorms to our for the bathing timing, and then we come back for dinner at 7:15. And then we have something called prep in the nights. Every night we have, except Saturday, Sunday. Sundays we have, but that's in the dorms itself. And so preps are usually till grade 10. They've been allotted some work by the teachers, but grade 11 and 12, the preps are usually whatever your pending work or you feel like preparing for something, and that's it. Then you go back to dorms, have milk, and sleep. Yeah, that's about how our day is.
World War One. The reason for World War One, and you can see World War One, these were the countries which were together. These were the two major countries which were together, and they fought against these. Which country? Netherlands. So the Netherlands, people from Netherlands also went to one country at least. They went because they went and conquered the rest of the whole world. But one question I have now: these people heal. So these two things made them conquer these places. Because they conquered India also. But one thing, because of which we are still ground, otherwise we would have been finished, is because we had immunity to germs.
See, firstly we follow a board. It's a CISC, as it's called, a council. So we have a syllabus which we have to follow. They have to give a board exam. So these are things which they have to do. But even though that is the case, there is a lot of scope for us to go well beyond the syllabus. And our best teachers, our most creative teachers teach generally much beyond the textbook and much beyond the syllabus. Now the most important thing really, I want to say this, that see, there are 3 things which any student needs, whether you are in an alternative school or in any school. The child's need is what we need to look at, regardless of the the block you put them in. See, they need a sense of competence, they need a sense of autonomy, and they need a sense of relatedness. So I feel that in any space, if children get these 3 fundamental needs of a child, then they will, their potential, you are basically giving them every opportunity to realize their potential, which is what really a school is about. It's about allowing every child to be able to explore their potential. Focus your mind on these 3 things. Can we relate to the children? Can we give every child a sense that they are competent? There is no, and it's not that it's a philosophy, it's a fact actually. I mean, to me, it's a fact that every child is here, there is a purpose. Our job is to enable them to find their purpose. So there is, and that purpose is not a small, so that's the thing, how small I think about my child matters. If I believe that every child is capable of greatness, then there are chances that some of them will become great. When I mean great, I mean they will do something which will be really worthwhile, which will impact a lot of people in the world. So, keeping these few things in mind and just focusing on them, I think around that, then you do other things, so that keeping these 3 things in mind, all your activities, all your processes, everything should be built around these 3 pillars, I feel, in any school. So, I don't know if that answers you.
So I would say here I kind of felt that. So until school, in 10th grade, the way I was taught, I would barely pay attention in class, or not too interested in studies in general. But after coming here, as I said, I started getting a flavor of what really understanding something feels like. That feeling itself was so good, you know. So I would say I pushed myself here beyond what was probably expected. In the sense, I tried to apply maths, to take interest in it, take interest in it myself, apply math, physics, and I would say that is what I think led to my getting a good set of basics strong over here. So that self application, right, that thing where, so this environment I found was very conducive actually for me to grow. I genuinely felt I know that I felt that difference. I told my mother about it, that this place was, I could feel like I'm genuinely learning, unlike anywhere else. Yeah.
The school follows an ICSE board, but they give teachers the freedom to use textbooks as just the starting point and expand their lessons way beyond that. This ends up allowing children to make connections with the real world rather than just being tied down to textbook knowledge.
Yeah, teaching over here is a space and the time which the institution gives us for each and every topic. See, when I look into the other schools or somewhere else, they'll say that this topic has to be completed in a month, or this topic you have to finish it in a day or week. So that pressurizes the teacher. But here what happens, see, if I take fraction for a month also, if I'm a maths teacher over here, if I take one topic and extend it for 1 month also, so there is no pressure for me. So there I enjoy a lot, because that makes me feel happiness at each and every child. I can reach to each and every child and make sure that the minimal level of understanding is happening to that grade level which is expected. So that is the biggest enjoyment, and that too they give us freedom that whatever we want they will provide us. Like if I want, so I want to do this activity, kindly provide these things, means they will provide. So fractions, if I say, sometimes if you use it decimals, and from decimals I will get into measurements, measurement of length, measurement of weight, measurement of what is that, distance. All these are different topics, but outside it is like you should teach it separately. From here I will jump wherever I want. So that space is giving me happiness. Like immediately from there I will jump into averages. So depending upon the class dynamics, depending upon the group, the way they take, I will jump. So I will club, no, this freedom of making me do what I want to do with the class dynamics, no, is like happiness for me.
2x e multiple one. So then the next is what I said.
I always find that if they like my class, immediately they respond. After the classroom they come to me, "Bhaiya, today's class is good, we are all attentive." And if sometimes if it is not up to the mark, they tell me that the freedom is there, the space is there to share. But today's class is something went wrong, we are not up to the mark or attentive. So then there is a chance to me to introspect or to look at me, what actually went wrong today, so that tomorrow I go with the class with the whatever, with the enough preparation or whatever I wanted to do, something else, something differently I will try to present my lesson. So that space is there. That space, I think as a teacher I have to create it in the classroom. That freedom has to be given to the students. We have to be open. If someone says, if some student comes to me and says, "Today class, I shouldn't get angry or something like that. I have to accept it." So when I accept, then I have a space to learn or to improve further. That in that philosophy I believe in. That's how I have grown up as a teacher for these many years being here.
Sports is something that is fully integrated into the curriculum so that children can work on themselves holistically.
I feel like sports builds character, and people need that, because you can't build character only in a classroom by only academics. You need to know how to lose in life. Only then you'd know how it works outside, because the real world is very different. Like when you lose on the sports field, you of course can show that anger and the sadness, and that builds your character. I feel when you're comfortable to show that you're sad about something, it shows that you love something that much, and you're able to express your feelings. I guess that's why sports is really important.
You know, we have consciously said that we will not have exams till grade 8 because, you know, everywhere schooling education is just marks, you know, and particularly in our country, I think this thing of entrance exams and coaching and all that is a very dangerous area. So we are very clear that education is not only marks. We are very clear that a child is not a face you put on, say, a billboard outside your school and say we have so many students who got 90% marks and first ranker, second ranker. We don't give ranks. We don't compare students to each other in class. So we look at each student as an individual, and because we have a relatively small number of students and because it's a residential school, we are able to give that much more time and energy to learning about each person who is a child, you know, at that point of time. And we see the child grow through, you know, grade 8, sometimes kids are here from grade 4 to grade 12, but we hope that we do justice to the child.
So now here is a school that attempts to go way beyond traditional methods of rote memorization and creates an environment of holistic learning. My favorite thing about this place was that children are able to think independently and critically about themselves and things around them. And the best part is that the day ends with the most beautiful sunset.